We play and call it work.
Hey there guys, Quirk here from MiniWarGaming.com to give you a new review on the Grey Knights Codex. So I'm super excited for this because we actually now have a individual codex for the Grey Knights. It's awesome. I've gone through it a couple times now, looked at the differences in points, at the new models that it's coming out with, the different versions of just super awesome models that are available to it. And in this review, I'm going to go over all the new models, the point changes that have happened, as well as just some of the new stuff that's coming out. And in the vault, I'm going to go over some of the new stratagems, the new spells, relics, and abilities that the Grey Knights have. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a quick look at this book. Looking at the points costs overall, one of the things I noticed right off the hop is that for Grey Knights, Terminators are actually down 2 points, so it's a little bit cheaper to bring units of Grey Knights. Normally they are 48 points for a Terminator, now they're 46, so that's pretty cool. But let's go ahead and start right at the beginning of the book here and see what we've got. Tons of fluff, which is kind of cool, but we're more interested in the actual models themselves. So, Grey Knights as a whole get a couple different rules. Now, a lot of these were already in the index to begin with. You get things like, and they shall know no fear, where they can reroll the failed morale tests. That's just standard across all Space Marines so far. They have the rule Demon Hunters, where if this unit attacks any demons in the fight phase, you can reroll failed wound rolls for those attacks. That's pretty cool, but it's very situational. You're going to find a lot of things in this book are very much geared towards fighting demons. Makes sense, they are the demon fighters, but you're going to notice a lot of these stratagems and spells and special abilities are geared towards just wrecking demons. They also have a special ability called Rites of Banishment. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this one. It makes it so that all the, pretty much every unit of Grey Knights, whether it's a Strike Squad, Terminator Squad, Paladin Squad, individual models, they all are Psychers and they all can cast Smite. But Rites of Banishment kind of nerfs that Smite if you're not targeting a demon. It reduces the range of Smite from 18 down to 12, and the target will only suffer 1 mortal wound rather than D3. But if you are targeting a demon, it automatically suffers 3 mortal wounds, which is kind of cool right there. But again, that's very situational. You have to fight something that has the demon keyword in it, and with all the new stuff that's coming out, those are a little bit rare to find. One of the last rules that we have here is the Teleport Strike, where during deployment you can set up this unit in the Teleportarium chamber instead of placing it on the battlefield, and at the end of any of your movement phase you can set it up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. That's also really cool. There's a lot of stuff in this book that has the Teleport Strikes keyword or special rule, so really a big fan of that. But moving on from there, let's go ahead and take a look at the new characters, or not the new characters, but the characters as a whole. Lord Kaldor Drago hasn't changed at all from the index. He still has everything like he did before, where his weapon skill, blitz skill, toughness, wounds, stuff like that, that's all the exact same as it is in the index. So no changes there. Same thing goes for Grandmaster Voldus and just the straight up Grandmaster. So page 64 and 65, no changes there from the index. Let's move on. Wow. We have, we got this guy. We have a Grandmaster in a Nemesis Dread Knight. Oh, so good. Power level 14, his movement is 8, he has a weapon skill and ballistic skill of 2 if he's at full health, strength and toughness 6, 12 wounds, and his attack profile has a star, leadership 9, and a 2-up save. That's pretty sweet right there. When you look at the table, if he takes anywhere from, if he's got at least 7 to 12 wounds remaining, his movement stays at 8, his ballistic skill stays at 2, and he has 5 attacks. And those drop respectively from 4 to 6 and 1 to 3. They go from 8 inches to 7 inches to 6 inches, ballistic skill 2 to 3 plus to 4 plus, and attacks from 5 to 4 to 3. So that's kind of the stack there. All in all, that compared to just a regular Nemesis Dread Knight, everything's actually up 1. So the normal Nemesis Dread Knight starts off with 4 attacks and a ballistic skill of 3 plus. So it brings everything down a little bit, which is kind of cool. Weapons that we have available here, we have the Gatlin Silencer, same as before, with a 24-inch range, heavy 12, strength 4, minus nothing AP, and D3 damage. The heavy Incinerator has a 12-inch range, heavy D6, 6 strength, AP minus 1, 2 damage apiece, and this weapon will automatically hit. A heavy side cannon with a 24-inch range, heavy 6, strength 7, minus 1 AP, 2 damage apiece. And then we have the options of Dreadfist, the Nemesis Demon Great Hammer, and the Nemesis Great Sword. The Dreadfist and Demon Hammer are both strength times 2. The Demon Hammer is minus 4 AP, the Dreadfist is minus 3, and the Dreadfist is 3 damage, D3 damage, and the Hammer is D6 damage. If you take 2 Dreadfists, you get an extra attack in the fight phase. If you have the Nemesis Demon Hammer, you actually have to subtract 1 from all the attacks made, but the damage rolls for this are never less than 3. So if you roll a 1 or 2, it just counts as 3, which is kind of cool. The Greatsword itself is strength plus 4, putting him at strength 10, minus 3 AP, and D6 damage. So That's pretty cool there. Abilities, they show no fear, Demon Hunter's Rites of Banishment, so does not have the teleportation strike. Instead, it has an option of a Dread Knight teleporter, which is something you have to pay for. It's 10 points if you're playing points values, and it gives them the ability to be set in reserve and come onto the board at any of your movement phases. So, Force Shielding and an Iron Halo gives him a 4-up invuln, and he also has Rites of Battle, so you can reroll to hit rolls of 1 for friendly Grey Knight units within 6 inches of his model. He is a Grey Knight, and he's within 6 inches of himself, so he is hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s at full health. That's pretty sweet. Then also, he's a Psyker that can manifest 2 psychic powers. One of them is Smite, and the other one is brought from the Sanctic Discipline, so that's kind of neat there. Keywords, he is a character, so more than 12 wounds, it is targetable. Also a vehicle, so any of those poison things that do certain things against anything but vehicles don't work on him, which is kind of cool. That actually came up in a couple games I've played. And then also he's a Grandmaster Psyker, Nemesis Dread Knight, Imperium, Adeptus Astartes, and Grey Knights. So that's pretty cool right there. Moving on, we have Castellan Crow, exactly the same as he is in the index, so we'll move on from there. Whoosh! Jumping over to the Brother Captain Stern, again, the exact same as he is in the index. And the Brother Captain, also the exact same as the index, no changes there. But now, Grey Knights have the ability to take a Grey Knight Librarian. One thing to keep in mind here, this Grey Knight Librarian is actually 13 points more than the Librarian you can take from the Space Marine Index. So keep that in mind. But does come with Terminator armor, which is kind of cool. Also has a Stormbolter, Nemesis Warding Staff, giving him +2 strength, -1 AP, and D3 damage. And it also gives him a 5-up invulnerable save against attacks made in the fight phase, but he's a Terminator, so he already has a 5-up invulnerable save thanks to the Terminus armor. Has a Psychic Hood where you can add 1 to the Deny the Witch test you take against enemy Psychers within 12, and can manifest 2 Psychic powers, one of them being Smite, and can also generate 2 Psychic powers from the Sanctic Discipline, so that's also really cool right there. Weapons that he has available as well, he's got the Frag Grenade, Crack Grenade, and Psycho Grenades, which are 6-inch range, attacks grenade D3, strength 2, AP nothing, 1 damage apiece. Not very good, but each time you roll a hit of 6 with this weapon against any Psychers or Demons, the model suffers a mortal wound instead of normal damage. So kind of a last-ditch effort to kind of throw stuff at those Demons there. But again, you do have a Librarian now. For Grey Knight players, it's a little bit more expensive, but he comes in Terminator armor and has some Psycho Grenades. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think it's like with the 13-point difference, maybe, but. Moving on from the Librarian, now Grey Knights can take a Tech Marine, who is also a Psyker, so that's awesome. Tech Marines are actually 33 points more than they are in the Space Marine Index, and also can't take a Conversion Beamer, which kind of hurts right there, because that's one of the big weapons Tech Marines like to take, or at least I like to take with Tech Marines, but keep that in mind, Grey Knight Tech Marines cannot take a Conversion Beamer. Has the Blessing of the Onasaya, where at the end of the movement phase you can repair a friendly Grey Knight vehicle. Other than models that can fly, within 1 inch it regains D3 wounds lost earlier in the battle, and you can only repair 1 vehicle per turn. Also Psyker can manifest 1 power, no Smite, and 1 of the Psychic powers from the Sanctic Discipline. I'm going to go over the Sanctic Discipline in the Vault video, so you guys can get a better idea of what these guys are actually able to do. Gear, otherwise, aside from the Conversion Beamer, pretty much the exact same as what he normally can take, and he also has Psycho Grenade. So again, that strength 2, AP nothing, 1 damage apiece grenade. So that's kind of cool. Grey Knights can bring Chaplains. Oh, yes. Grey Knights now have access to bring Chaplains. They are Grey Knight Chaplains who can manifest 1 Psychic power in the Psychic phase. He can generate Smite and 1 of the powers from the Sanctic table. Has pretty much all the same rules as a regular Chaplain. The only difference is that this Chaplain is 29 points more than the regular one in the Space Marine Codex, but he does come in Terminator armor, which is kind of cool. Again, able to take a Stormbolter, a Crozius Arcanum, and the Psycho Grenades. Has a Rosarius for a 4-up invuln, which is quite nice. And all friendly Grey Knights within 6 inches can use his leadership instead of their own when taking morale. And you can also reroll fail to hit rolls in the fight phase if for friendly Grey Knight used within 6 inches of him, so that's kind of cool as well. He does have Teleport Strike, so he can jump onto the board when he wants to. Brotherhood Champion, the exact same. Terminator Squad is the exact same as the Index, so we'll move on there. Strike Squads are the exact same. Apothecaries. So it was already in the book before, but I like to just point this out really quickly. Apothecaries are available to the Grey Knights. This is one of the only Apothecaries that you can take in Terminator armor, which is kind of cool, but keep in mind he's going to be 35 points more than a regular Apothecary. So there is that. Comes with Psycho Grenades and can take the Nemesis weapon. So you can take the Falchions, the Force Sword, or sorry, the Nemesis Force Sword. Also a Apothecary who has Psychic powers, which is kind of cool, and a 4-up invuln. So it's pretty sweet right there. Moving on, we've got the Brotherhood Ancient, again the exact same as he was in the Index, so not going to spend too much time on him. Has a Sacred Banner. Keep that in mind for the Vault video when we start going over all of the relics that you can take, because that's really cool. Then you got the Paladin Squad, exactly the same as it was before. Again, all of these models that I've mentioned so far are Psychers, so they can cast Smite. They do have the Rites of Banishment rule where they can only cause 1 mortal wound, and it's only 12-inch range, but can definitely throw out those Smites, which is quite neat. I don't think, other than Crow, they're all pretty much the same, and Stern. Sorry, Crow and Stern are the exact same. One thing to note really quickly, I'm going to jump back a little bit here. Stern has an ability that, where is it? Here we go. The Psychic Locus, I guess. Any friendly Grey Knight units within 6 inches of a Brother Captain or Stern that manifest Smite can double the range of that Smite. So that means a lot of your Grey Knights are not going to be able to throw Smites at 24 inches. Ugh, that's pretty cool. Moving on, we got the Paladin Ancient, exactly the same as it was in the book. Again, has a Sacred Banner. Nothing really to go on there. Purifier Squad. These guys are awesome. I love them. They have the Purifying Flame, so they don't have a normal Smite. They have a 3-inch Smite, but it automatically inflicts D6 mortal wounds instead of D3, and it doesn't matter what you roll on the Psychic test as long as you pass it. So that's pretty cool right there. Moving on from there, we now have Grey Knight Dreadnoughts. We've got a regular Dreadnought here, 17 points more than what the normal one is, but he can take the... Oh, no, he can't take anything, but he has a Psyker as well, so he can cast Smite and one of the other powers from the Sanctic table. So for an extra 17 points, you're getting a Dreadnought that can throw some Psychic spells around. Pretty cool. Same thing goes for the Venerable Dreadnought. This one went up by 20 points compared to the one in the regular book, and has nothing really new to it, no additional weapons, but again, can cast Psychic powers. You also have access to Servitors now. You did have access to all of these before, but now they're Grey Knight specific. Nothing different about Servitors at all. They don't even get Psychic powers. So moving on from there to the Interceptor Squads. Exactly the same as they were in the book. Nothing changed there. I've got a list of things that are all different here, but yeah, nothing different for the Interceptors. The exact same as they were in the Index 1, but they do have some new stratagems that are available to them, which is kind of cool. Purgation Squads are the exact same as they were in the Index, so no changes there. There's not really a lot of changes for all the stuff that was in the Index. A few point changes, but that's about it. The Nemesis Dread Knight, exactly the same as he was before, except now if you really want to, you can put a Grandmaster in it, who's amazing. Grey Knights now have access to their own Land Raiders, which is kind of cool. Exactly the same point cost as it was before. Absolutely nothing changed, but this one actually says specifically it can carry 10 Grey Knight infantry, and each Terminator takes up 2 infantry slots. So keep that in mind if you're a Grey Knight player and you're bringing a Grey Knight Land Raider. You can't put other models in it. It can only take Grey Knight infantry. So yeah, there's that keyword there. So other detachments aren't going to be able to jump into your Land Raider if they're not Grey Knights. But you have a regular Land Raider, the Crusader, and the Redeemer, all the exact same, except now they have a bunch of Grey Knight infantry keywords there, so it's very specific who can jump in there. Then we've also got Razorbacks and Rhinos, again, exactly the same as before, except it's only Grey Knight infantry, which I'm a little bit leery about. I'm not sure how I feel about the whole you can't share. It doesn't have the Adeptus Astartes infantry, it actually just says Grey Knight infantry, so it's very specific. You gotta be part of a special club to get in these vehicles. Moving on, we've got, now Grey Knights can actually take the Stormhawk Interceptor, which is kind of cool there. Nothing really special for it, except one thing that I'm going to note here. The Icarus Storm Cannon for this guy right here is an additional 5 points from what it normally is in the Index. So when you're calculating your points and you're doing everything, don't go off memory. The Icarus Storm Cannon is actually 5 points more in this book. So that got changed around a little bit. Oh, there's actually something else in here. Who can take that? There was one more that I wanted to... It's the... I don't know. Well, if I find it, I'll mention it. Okay, can also take Storm Raven gunships. That's going back to the old school rules there, but they can take it. This is the way you can take it. So your Storm Raven gunships have the ability to take a twin heavy plasma cannon. Twin heavy plasma cannons in this book are 26 points more than they are in the Index. So again, keep that in mind. That's a huge point jump for that weapon right there. They're probably trying to even it out a little bit, make it fair or more usable, but keep that in mind that the twin heavy plasma cannon is 26 more points in the Grey Knight book. Grey Knights also have access to the Storm Talon gunship, which is kind of cool right there. Points are exactly the same as they were before, so nothing to change, nothing really getting changed on that front. So, That's going to be it for what's actually in the book and what's been changed around. Let's go ahead and take a quick look, because we're here at the Warlord Traits and the actual Brotherhood special abilities they get. So, if you take a a battle-forged army of Grey Knights, you do get access to a couple special rules here. The first one is Brotherhood of Psychers. So, if your army is battle-forged, all Psychers in Grey Knight detachments gain the ability to add 1 to Psychic tests and deny the Witch tests taken for each unit, or pardon me, for such a unit. So that means that you are now casting smites on a dice roll, a 2 dice roll of 5, which is kind of sweet right there. And keep that in mind when we start going over all the psychic powers in the vault, guys, because that's another really big thing right there. They got their own version of the Defenders of Humanity. They have Knights of Titan, where if your army is battle-forged in a Grey Knight detachment, it gains this ability. So basically, if this unit's within range of an objective marker, it doesn't matter how many guys are there. If you're there, you control it, unless, of course, you have somebody else who has this same rule, and then it's just whoever has the most models in range. So, going on to the Warlord Traits. Now, this one's a little bit different than before. In the Space Marine book, there was a list of chapter-specific ones. We don't have that here, but we do have named characters can only take certain Warlord traits, or have to take certain Warlord traits. But let's go over them really quickly here. We've got Demon Slayer. So if a Warlord wounds a demon in the fight phase, your opponent must subtract 1 from any invulnerable saving throw made against that attack. Again, that's really specific. The problem is that if you take Kaldor Drago, he has to take this Warlord trait. And that kind of hurts a little bit. Moving on, we have Hammer of Righteousness. You can add 1 to wound rolls for your Warlord in the fight phase if he successfully charged that turn. That's amazing. One of the things is that Hammer of Righteousness, if you take Castellan Crow, he has to take this Warlord trait. It's an amazing Warlord trait for an army that likes to get up close. If you have somebody with the, with like a hammer or swords or halberds or anything like that, they add a bunch to your strength, but with this Warlord trait, whatever you're wounding on gets +1, and then if you also cast one of the old psychic powers, which is in this book, which is Hammerhand, you get another +1, so now you're getting +2 to wound, which means a lot of stuff that you're swinging with is probably going to wound on 2s. That's pretty cool, especially when you look at the actual powers of the Nemesis weapons. Number 3, we have Unyielding Anvil. Friendly Grey Knight units that are within 6 inches of your Warlord automatically pass morale checks. That's pretty cool. Brother Captain Stern automatically has that one, so you want to keep him around if you got a bunch of guys in a unit. Next up, we have First to the Fray. You can reroll failed charge rolls for your Warlord and any friendly Grey Knight units within 6 inches of him at the start of the charge phase. That's pretty cool. Nobody specifically has to take this one, but again, for those assaulty armies, that's kind of cool, especially if you start dropping guys in the end of your movement phase, and then when you get to the charge phase, they're all going to get to reroll those charges. Number 5, we have Nemesis Lord. You can add 1 to the damage characteristic of your Warlord's melee weapons. If your Warlord wields a Relic of Titan that is a melee weapon, choose another Warlord trait or reroll this result. Nobody has to take it, but it's kind of cool. Adding 1 to the damage characteristic can be pretty amazing, especially if you start swinging the... if you were to take a Grandmaster and a Nemesis Dread Knight with the hammer, it means the hammer is guaranteed to do 4 damage, because no matter what you roll, it always counts as a 3 unless you roll higher than a 3, and you're getting that +1. So if you roll a 1, 2, or 3, you're doing 4 damage with that hit, and then 4 does 5, 5 does 6, 6 does 7. So that can be pretty devastating. Last one that we have right here is Lore Master. Your Warlord knows 1 additional psychic power from the Sanctic Discipline. Voldus has to take this one, and it's amazing. That means Voldus has 4 psychic powers that he knows, and when you start looking at what the psychic powers are, they are ridiculous. It is one of the coolest things that they have in here is the psychic powers. Mortal wounds for days, crazy buffs across the table. I really like the psychic powers, so when I get to them, I'm just not going to stop talking. But that's going to be it for everything in this book. New models that they've got available to Grey Knights now are your Grandmaster and Nemesis Dreadnought. You got Librarians, Tech Marines, Chaplains, Dreadnoughts, Venerable Dreadnoughts, Servitors, Land Raider, all 3 versions, Razorbacks, Rhinos, Stormhawk, Storm Raven, Storm Talon, and most of the stuff has a bit of a hefty point increase, but when you consider the fact that pretty much everything in here except for the vehicles now has the ability to cast Smite, gets kind of ridiculous. So that's kind of cool right there. That's pretty much all I have to say so far about the Grey Knights. There's a lot more that I'm going to say in the vault because it's just the way I'm splitting up this book. But I'm a really big fan of just the new versions that they've come out with. One thing I'm not too happy about, though, is that GW didn't come out with a new model for the Grandmaster in Nemesis Dread Knight. It would have been really cool to see that. I know they came out with a, how to convert one in one of the White Dwarfs that recently came out. It was cool, but I'd like to see their own special one where it's like more ordained. It's got more medals on it, so that'd be kind of cool. But otherwise, yep, that's pretty much it for this book and the free portion. So now you guys have an understanding of what's new in the book, some point changes that have come out for that. So those are some big things right there. It's really not too much has changed. Just a few things have been added here and there, and that's pretty much it. I feel like this was a GW's attempt to try and adjust the point costs a little bit when you look at the points values throughout the book. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for just what's new in the book. I'm more excited to talk about the actual relics, stratagems, and psychic powers that are available to Grey Knights, so that's going to be in the Vault, guys. If you're not a Vault member, go ahead and click that link below. You'll get access to a 7-day free trial where you can see me talk about everything else that's new in this book, as well as all the other videos that we have in the Vault, like painted tutorials, behind the scenes, open vaults, and additional battle reports. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of the new Grey Knights. I'm curious to get your opinion on them, and I will see you in the Vault. Thanks so much for watching. Happy wargaming.